Welcome to the Fuel Jetstream Media IndyCar Series. It is race number 12. Apologies for the little bit of delay. Apparently, the confirmation was still a thing over here on YouTube. Aside from that, it is the Indianapolis Grand Prix road course, where we are going to be here for 50 laps. And as per usual, this is the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. Well, tonight it is now unofficially 9 broadcasts remaining here until a little bit of a break that I have. But until then, as per usual, again, this is the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. I, of course, as per usual, am not the one-man crew for today, but the same person that's been here every single week in, week out for these broadcasts. As per usual, I'm Gary Weaver, joined by Eric Gonzalez. We're just going to be covering, once again, the second half of the racetrack for tonight, and I'm actually quite interested to see what these drivers have in store for tonight.
Well, let me try this again.
Great start.
Gary, what a great start. It's been a interesting title fight here. Byron Daly has missed a few races, allowing Mitch Welker to take over the points lead. Byron Daly is 3 points behind Mitch. He is starting P4. Mitch is starting P1. I have my notes here and I can't read it. So for Byron to regain the points lead, he will need to either finish P1 or 2 points ahead or 2 positions ahead of Mitch in any other position. Turns 1 to 3 and 8 to 11 in practice have been catching drivers out, so that should be interesting to see in the race. And turns 1 and 8 are providing some good passing opportunities, being that they're turns coming out of a long straightaway. So, this should be a good battle to see where Byron can finish, and just in general, a pretty good race.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting and very interesting again. That's going to be used a lot, as per usual, but we have the starting grid on the bottom of your screen, although a quick note, a little bit of an update as well to this end, at least over on this side, the production side of streaming. So the bit rate is cranked up just about 2,000, so it's cranked up to now 4,000. So if there are any issues like drop frames, well, I can't really do anything about it up until after the event. So that's always going to be improved upon, but until then, as my throat decides to die mid-sentence there, we're going to go ahead and start with your starting grid here this week. First up, as you have seen, it is Mitchell Welker. Not a stranger to first place. Zachary Buchanan starting in second as Project 2 positions 1-2 on the starting grid tonight. It is Danny Roberts and Byron Daly third and fourth. We have about, the first 4 grid stalls being taken by possibly the most dominant drivers of the league in terms of finishing positions, how many wins, etc., just how many positions gained, especially for Danny Roberts. Rounding out the top 5, it is Andrew Wood in the number 32. Kyton Bommersbach starts off in 6th. 7th place going to be Chad Frankenfield in the 15. Number 17 of Cohen Evans starts in 8th. 9th place is Will Roberts in the 20, and then in the 10th place position, it will be the 64 of Matthew Warner. The rest of your field being Don Runkle Jr. In fact, he's the last driver to take a qualifying time in 11th, almost 6.3 seconds behind your pole position time. Jack Andrick starts in 12th, not taking a qualifying time, along with Genius Pasquarella in 13th. 14th being Brendan Minto. 15th going to be Michael Hurley. Jared Dixon in car number 16 starts in position 16. John Wilco starts in 17th. 18th, Chris Matthews, and Evan Adams starts in the 19th place position, running out your 19-car field here for your 30-lap event.
Well, one of the smaller grids we've had all season. But Mitch Welker, some interesting facts here, has won every single road course event this season. So we're going to see if he can pull it off once again. Also, Matt Hollabaugh is celebrating his mother's birthday today, so happy birthday to Matt Hollabaugh's mother. Otherwise, he would be out here, and sad to see that he's not here, but it's for a good reason. You're welcome, Matt. But yeah, Byron Daly going to try and chase down Mitch.
And we're going to see what Byron Daly can do. I believe he's been busy with, yes, Matt, we see that you're still here. But as far as I know, that Byron Daly's been busy with a little bit of real world stuff. Now I can't speak. That's wonderful. Great start. But other than that, we're going to see what Byron Daly can do here. He's been gone for a while, and coincidentally, he shows up just a little bit after he got knocked off the point standing. So a very good time to come back. So that could be why we've seen him be very dominant over the course, or maybe it's just coincidence. But for 50 laps here today, we'll see what Mitchell Welker can do, if that is he can do anything. So the pace car about to pull off the racetrack just off of turn number 4 instead of taking the pit access road like a normal driver would. Unfortunately, I believe that actually is the case for regular pit stops. You have to take the pit access road. So there goes the Porsche pace car. Infield in control of Mitchell Welker. Green flag is out, and we are racing at the Indianapolis Grand Prix road course. Already multiple drivers fanning out multiple positions, and just like that, it is Mitch Welker in first. A little bit of almost a 3-wide battle for third place, and already Byron Daly tags the 41 Danny Roberts, and just like that, as Andrew Wood goes up by on the left-hand side, just next to Danny Roberts, he gets tagged. Roberts tags Andrew Wood, and Andrew Wood falls off the course just a little bit into the sand trap, and already, just like that, I believe the tone of the race has been set as we are side by side, and Andrew Wood, Danny Roberts, and Byron Daly, they all make contact within the first few corners, but now it's still Project 2 going up ahead into turn number 8.
Well, Mitch Welker going to be keeping the lead as they head down into turn number 8, 9, 10, and 11. Zach going to try and get a run out of turn 11 into 12 and down the front stretch, which I'm going to be counting 13 as the front stretch since it is flat out. Behind those two, it is Byron Daly trying to catch up to, again, regain that points position, the points lead. Behind him, Caden Bommersbach and Danny Roberts will round out. I believe that is your top 5.
And that's going to be side by side for first place. Buchanan on the right-hand side, taking the defensive line is Mitchell Welker. Gives the position to Welker, so there's a little bit of a side-by-side battle as well between Will Roberts, I believe, Cohen Evans, and instantly, no, it's Chad Frankenfield, actually, that instantly spun out, entering turn number 1, so he will fall back to what's now 13th, 14th in the field and the standings. Unfortunately, again, tone is still getting set for this race. Multiple drivers already losing positions this early on, some of which are not going to enjoy this, but they do have a good amount of time to really try and make up these positions as they head back down to turn number 8.
Well, once again, it's going to be Zach Buchanan in that second position trying to make up that spot on Mitch, and Byron Daly right behind him as we see that is the car of Caden Bommersbach cutting across that turn 8, the turn 8 grass. He's going to fall back a couple of positions. Zach Buchanan in second position, going to look for the run out of turn 13 and head down the front stretch on the outside, not setting himself up best for turn number 1.
As they head back down to turn number 1, still side by side, and I'm pretty sure that Mitch Welker, of course, will keep defending the lead, but I don't think that Zachary Buchanan is really going to let Mitchell Welker get away with that for a while at least. Saying he's looks like Zachary Buchanan is trying to say, hey, you know what? I still have enough speed to get alongside you, so I could be passing you at one point in the future. Cotton Bommersbach back to 8th place, as it looks to be Will Robertson, Cohen Evans still 5 and 6 on the racetrack. Will Robertson, another different paint scheme actually, and they white and orange. Actually, it's a gray and orange paint scheme. But other than that, they still remain single file for the time being. Not right when I say that.
Single file. Mitch goes a little wide, and Zach follows him just a bit, gets a little loose out of turn number 8. It's Byron Daly that is still closing the gap from what was 2 seconds to 1.6 seconds this time. We'll see what he can do at the line.
Yeah, I'll see what these lap times come across as well once they cross the start-finish line. As Buchanan crosses the line, it will be possibly side-by-side between himself and Welker, but Byron Daly is about 0.2 of a second quicker now as Buchanan sneaks his way just barely into the lead, but Mitchell Welker gets by right at the last second, just entering turn number 2. So we could be seeing this for a little bit of a ways on into this race. Cotton Bombers Box times keep appearing null for some reason over on the timing screen over here. It's not sure if he's having internet problems or it's just not being counted just because he cut the course, and that could be it. May have gotten a black flag penalty or maybe a slowdown, so that could be why that his lap times are not coming across.
Well, that top 3 is getting ever closer to each other, and Zach Buchanan running a little bit wide. That's going to hold up Byron in his run, but they're going to be able to collect it back up, head down towards turn number 13. A little bit farther back in the pack, Danny Roberts holding P number 4, and the last lap, I think we cut away from it before we saw Evans was able to get ahead of Will Roberts, who is fighting off the number 9 of Jack Anderack, and Caton Bommersbach trying to make a comeback from his spin on Jack now to the inside.
Yeah,
and almost 3 wide.
Yeah, they were almost 3 wide for a second. Anderack, I thought he was going to try and go up through the middle, but he decided against it. And there goes Caton Bommersbach off the racetrack again, cutting turn number 1. He'll let 2 cars by, so he doesn't really gain anything of that, as well as the slowdown penalty. So I believe over this corner, unless he gave that away, now I'll have to slow down again by the looks of it. Not sure, but he does have to let Andrew Wood by on the inside. So Caton Bommersbach definitely for sure has the slowdown penalty this time. Now his lap times are coming back onto the timing screen over here. So that could be a little bit of a problem solved. So cut the course once, break the timing, cut it again, and well, next thing you know, it works.
Well, I would like to point out, I saw this on the camera, and I went to go get a closer look. Will Roberts has some right rear damage.
Actually take a look at that at the right rear, and yeah, that looks to be maybe the case. Not seeing anything over on this end, and actually, yeah, he's missing a little bit of a side pod and a little bit of the side of the vehicle as well. So unfortunately for Will Roberts, it's not going to work out for him a little bit this time on. We'll actually see if we can get a better camera angle of this here, as that's the right rear suspension compared to the left rear. That's a left front. Apologies for that. There we go. And there's Jack Anderick just in that camera shot as well. At the moment, you can see the complete difference, the entire missing of the side pod. So we'll see if we can actually get a replay of that to see what exactly had happened to Will Roberts and where he'd gotten that contact from. So still rewinding, possibly looks like it happened a few laps ago. Definitely a decent amount of time between that and now. So in fact, it looks like it happened just on the first few opening laps. Apologies for the black screen as we try to get this replay up as quickly as possible, and it has been found. And it looks like Will Roberts may have gotten a little bit of front end damage as well, as it was a battle between himself and Chad Frankenfield down the front straightaway, and hard shot into the inside wall. As Frankenfield had to defend, Will Roberts moved to the inside, but moved way too much to the inside to the point where, well, next thing you know, he's in the inside wall. Another driver in pit road, actually. I believe that is the 16 of Jared Dixon passing through pit road. About to hit to his pit stop, and you can see the damage over there on that right front. Not too good looking there for that number 16.
Well, it was just this last time by that the leaders came around to lap Jared, and it looks like Michael Hurley is slow on the track. But last lap by, Jared got in the middle of the lead group. The lead group, yeah, that's the words I'm looking for, and actually held up Zach and Byron a little bit. So that hurt them just a touch, knocking them back to second. But they have slightly absent.
Yeah, it's definitely good that they have closed that gap since that moment. But right now, it's still Zachary Buchanan and Byron Daly that could be battling for a P2 in just a few moments. But Daly, falling through, it's not really going to work for the time being. So he's going to have to wait just a little bit longer. But every single lap he takes, the closer he gets. And of course, you can see the lap times there just to the right-hand side of the drivers' names. Virtually identical lap times. There's Dixon getting off the racing line, letting the leaders by. And Byron Daly is going to try and capitalize on this just a little bit more than he wants to, or just a little bit more than he possibly would. So we'll see what happens here.
Well, it looks like he's not close enough just yet to make that move into turn number 8. But from what I've seen, it looks like Byron is a little bit faster through this section than Zach. So maybe at some point we'll see him close it up just a bit to make that move into turn number 8.
Yeah, that could be the case. Right now, Zach has got a great run off of turn number 12, coming onto the racetrack through turn 13, essentially, and onto the front straightaway. Is still Byron Daly decent amount of seconds behind now this time as compared to the last time around, but still just a little bit of an advantage with the draft. Unfortunately, is not going to work that time around. So Daly was pretty much closest to second place just that last time around. Right now, as these drivers go right by the lap vehicle of Michael Hurley, nothing really Byron Daly can do for the moment, as Mitch Walker has led all the laps so far this race. And as of right now, I'm not seeing any insanely close battles on the racetrack. It may have spoken too soon. It's Will Roberts who got passed by Kyton Bommersbach for 8th place.
Kyton Bommersbach trying to make up any moves or any positions he can, and I say that as he spins just a bit, but Will Roberts too will join him. Andrew Wood looks like he's picked up a little bit of damage in that. I don't know if he had that before, but let's see, he's going to try and make a move. Possibly no, he will not. He'll stay behind Andrew for the time being.
Yeah, visibly backing off is Will Roberts as Jack Andrick is off the racetrack just in front of them, near on the exit of the corner. And we'll see what exactly happened to Andrick here on this replay, as back into the right-hander, got a piece of the grass on the left-hand side, tried to gas it up, and just completely lost any and all grip that was available to him on those right side tires.
Well, Mitch Welker during practice said after the first few laps the tires turn to cotton candy. Very interesting way of putting it, but I guess that's we're seeing the effects of.
Yeah, for sure seeing the effects as Jared Dixon is around once again, just off turn number 1. Turn number 2, actually, gassed it up way too quickly. This time it was just because of the curb and not exactly the banking, but he did manage to get that vehicle back going a little bit later on. Somehow, some way, and quite literally, very quickly, Mitchell Walker comes off the final corner once again. 40 laps to go, as it's currently Welker, Buchanan, and Byron Daly. Currently positions 1, 2, and 3. Danny Roberts 3rd, 4th place. Danny Roberts 4th, 5th place is Cohen Evans. As they head down the front straightaway once again, Matthew Warner a little bit of ways back in 6th, and he's got Kyton Bommersbach right behind him in 7th. I believe Matthew Warner just gotten passed by Kyton Bommersbach as well for position number 6 entering turn 1, so that means Kyton Bommersbach is just one position closer to the top 5. At the moment, I don't think anyone else really has any moves at the moment, so it's been quite settled out here for the time being.
Well, there have been some talks of pit strategy going on amongst the drivers. Some drivers, like Will Roberts, going with a two-stop strategy, pitting on lap 17 and 34. So we're going to have to watch to see what strategies drivers are doing and what's going to get the drivers to the victory today.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something that's very important for these drivers. And, of course, it's the age-old question of pit strategy. And, Danny Roberts getting passed by Kyton Bonusbach entering turn... Sorry, Danny Roberts getting passed by Cohen Evans as they enter turn 1 and 2. Back into turn 3, we'll see if Danny Roberts can really try and strike back in his own way, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to do that. Because Kyton Bonusbach... because Cohen Evans is really pulling away, so he may have a little bit of a challenge for the top 3 once again. We haven't seen him in the top 3 in a while, I don't believe, actually. So Evans doing a very impressive job with accelerating off the corner. You can see how very visible that difference is.
Well, that top 3 just kind of stagnating at about a second between each other. Not a lot that they can do. The infield section doesn't allow for the drivers to get all that close, and when you do get close, you just can't really make a move.
Yeah, there's no way to really make a move at all unless you're somehow insanely good in that infield workhorse section. Byron Daly has immediately lost all of his time that he had gained. He's currently 2.2 seconds back, about 2 seconds back now, to Zachary Buchanan. So, unfortunately, just not going to be the case for the time being for Daly to try and get whatever speed possible. As well, Andrew Wood is the first driver to blink 13 laps in, coming to lap 14. Actually, he's coming to complete his 13th lap. His 12th lap, rather. So, Andrew Wood, first person to blink. I'm not sure if it's because of that right front wing damage, but we'll find out if Andrew Wood actually decides to pit for what is indeed going to be tires or possibly just fuel instead. As we'll stop in his pit box. And, yep, all 4 jacks are raised, so it's definitely for sure tires. And down and away goes Andrew Wood as Mitchell Walker comes back up onto the front straightaway. So again, still a little bit of a visible difference, a heavy visible difference now. I think Byron Daly is trying to save fuel at this point because he's now 3 seconds behind. Take a ride on board with Byron Daly, see if he's messing up anywhere or whatever is going on with him. But Daly again is now he's a full 2 seconds behind. Sorry, a full 4 seconds behind Zachary Buchanan. Scratch that, 3 seconds, apologies for that. 3 seconds behind Zachary Buchanan as opposed to 2 seconds. Not exactly sure what the cost could be, but it's still just about 2.6 seconds. But in those opening corners, Byron Daly was losing a very massive amount of lap time there between himself and Buchanan.
From what I can tell, it definitely doesn't look like Mitch and Zach are trying to save any fuel. I think that they're probably going to push and possibly make it a 3-stop. I'm not too sure, but they could be trying to make a 2-stop, sorry, and they have a better idea on fuel numbers.
Yeah, they could have. They've done a little bit of, and done a lot of practice, I should say, as they have still remained 1-2 pretty much ever since the start of this race. There's technically one lead change, but it wasn't at the start-finish line. It was more heading into turn 1, as Buchanan had barely got a nose up on Mitch Welker. And unfortunately, there was just not enough. It was always on the left-hand side where Buchanan was. Welker defended the right-hand side, the oval outside lane, I guess, in a sense. But at the moment, they are still remaining 1-2 for the time being, and nothing much has really changed between these two drivers, as it's currently Welker. As we look back on Buchanan, a little bit of a gain there, but nothing much.
And looking back in the field a bit, Danny Roberts is keeping up with Cohen Evans, possibly looking to make a move towards turn number 1.
I'll see what happens here. Cohen Evans 4 positions up from where he had started in 8th place. Danny Roberts down 2 positions. So this could really benefit Danny Roberts as they head into the corner. Kyten Bommersbach, rather, is off the racetrack once again. He's just not having the best of luck, and it's the same place where Jack Andrick was off the racetrack earlier on as well. Just about turn 9 to turn 10. Just that simple left-right-hander. Almost the exact same type of incident, except Kyten Bommersbach fell a little bit more into the infield than he more than likely would have wanted. So planning to take a break at about lap 25, which is your halfway point. We'll go over your entire field and then go for a break. But speaking of your entire field, it is currently Brendan Minto, who has been out. I don't believe he even gridded. But Brendan Minto has been out. He's officially 19th. 18th is Evan Adams after some type of incident earlier on. Don Runkle Jr. also out 3 laps down. And that is it. Any other drivers are at least a lap or more down. One of which is going to be Chris Matthews here as the leaders go directly by him. Not sure what happened to Matthews there. He's got a lot of damage on his right front wing, or left front wing rather. That's definitely going to hurt his aero a little bit more than it should. Looking through the field, going to focus on Cohen Evans and Danny Roberts battling side by side between each other. Not side by side, rather, but a little bit of a brewing battle between these two. So Danny Roberts, like Eric, you had mentioned earlier, Roberts had managed to catch up to Cohen Evans, but at the same time, hasn't really done anything since then.
No, he hasn't, and I think that's just part of this track. You know, there's not a lot of good passing opportunities. You do have turn 1 and turn 8, but other than that, there's just not a lot of places where you can stick it up the inside.
Yeah, I can't really place the nose of the car anywhere whatsoever unless you really want to risk the worst possible thing happening here. But at the moment, it's not really much going on, as it looks like it will be Zachary Buchanan blinking first. Lap 18, he comes into pit road. So he's being outlasted at the moment by his teammate, Mitchell Walker, unless Walker decides to pit the next lap. But we will find out. Still in pit road, then just rapidly losing positions just from being in pit road is Buchanan. But I'm pretty sure he's thinking, well, you know, I'd rather sacrifice on-track position instead of running on old tires. So keep note, lap number 18. Next possible stop for Buchanan here could be, going off the top of my head here, I believe lap 36 or 37. Just off the top of my head of math. That sounds like it could be correct, however. So we'll see what Walker decides to do this time around.
And it's Will Robert in the pits. I will assume that he's going to take 14 gallons of fuel and 4 tires. Yeah, I know that because he put it in the...
Oh, he overshot his pit box.
Ooh.
That's not going to help him out whatsoever. We'll compare his total pit stop time to Zachary Buchanan in just a few moments' time, as Will Roberts gets put 1 lap down officially, and now that he's off pit road, Zachary Buchanan had a 42.2 second pit stop, or at least, hold on, actually, a 8.8 second pit stop. Will Roberts had an 8.3 second pit stop, but the thing is, Will Roberts had spent more time on pit road just to back up just a little bit. So 42.2 seconds total on pit road from Zachary Buchanan, and a 43.9 total seconds on pit road as he just now spins out. As we were just talking about Will Roberts' total pit lane time, pit stop time, apologies. Kyten Bommersbach and Jack Andrick are both in pit road from positions 8 and 9 at the moment.
And on that pit entry, Kyten Bommersbach, got into the... definitely not something you want to have happen.
Oh, man. Yeah, he was coming in way too hot in the first place, so he may have gotten a speeding penalty in the process, but as well as the fact that... we'll see. Yeah, he definitely got a speeding penalty for sure. He's still being held in pit road, so it's either damage for a speed penalty. 20 total seconds and still ongoing in his current pit stop. 24.4 total seconds for his pit stop, as compared to Jack Andrick, who's already out in turn number 3 with a 9.1 second pit stop. So a lot of drivers having different strategies all over the place at this point. Some trying to outlast others, and some just pitting whatever. So we're going to be seeing a string of pit stops here. We only have on the racetrack 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars that have decided to not pit. 8 of those cars are your top 5.
And Kyton Bommersbach back, or sorry, not Kyton. I thought that was his car. It's Chad Frankenfield into the pit from P7.
And he'll drop back to 8th place at the moment. Possibly trying to fuel his car. Yep, there he goes. So I'm not sure if Kyton Bommersbach actually was trying to either fuel his car all the way, as Welker is currently in pit road. So that gives the lead this time by over to Byron Daly, lap number 21. So 20 total laps, or actually 19 total laps. Not exactly sure how that math would work out for me, but either way, it is Mitchell Welker finally in pit road. Thought he overshot his pit box there for a second, but luckily he did not. So
upon my calculations here, it's about a 42-second total pit delta. So from this current position, Byron Daly will come out about 10 seconds behind Zach Buchanan.
We'll see how that plays out, because at the moment, yeah, that could play out actually, but 43.2 seconds total in pit lane for Mitchell Welker, but that's because he had a 9.7 second pit stop. Into pit road comes Byron Daly. Oh, he's coming in way too quickly. Pit speed is about 55 miles an hour and barely made it. Just in time as well. So Byron Daly, the next driver to blink. Where is Cohen Evans? He's also coming into pit road. Also 55 miles an hour. Driver that stays out is Danny Roberts. Does Matthew Warner decide to pit? He will. Taking a look at the speed at the top left-hand side of the top right-hand side of the graphic. Yellow cones as well. Oh, no, my goodness. Warner did pretty much the same thing that Kyton Bommersbach did. Nearly overshot pit road and just completely nearly shunted his left front into the outside wall around pit road. And James Pasquarella, another one of the drivers that has not yet to pit. Same with Danny Roberts. They are positions 10th and 1st, respectively. Danny Roberts being in 1st. Not the first time as well. Actually, I believe this is the first time he's been in the first place position so far in this series overall. So multiple drivers having multiple different pit stop times in general here. Looks like the longest pit stop time being Matthew Warner with 10.7 seconds. The shortest pit stop time, being 7.9 seconds by Chris Matthews, but he's off the racetrack, unfortunately, in 16th. So Roberts slows up to 55 miles an hour, so this will definitely hand the lead back over to Mitchell Welker once they get back onto the straightaway. Zachary Buchanan, and look at that, back in 3rd is Byron Daly, so we'll see. That's about a 4.6 second gap. That's actually incorrect to, for some reason, Matthew Warner, so that will correct itself at the start-finish line once Byron Daly crosses by. Hold off as the scoring is trying to reset itself. There it is, about 5 seconds. So, half a second difference for Eric's decision there, or prediction, I should say.
I think I said about 10 seconds. With that,
sorry, not half a second. Half of those 10 seconds.
Yes.
Other than that, I believe Buchanan may start to make a move here. Well, never mind. We just caught the tail end of his exit, and we saw him just shaking that steering wheel, trying to hang on to that. So I don't believe he's going to give up that first place battle now between himself and Welker. Oh. That curb definitely messed up his run there. At this point, we're just watching them go down the front straightaway. 0.7 seconds solid separates Walker from Buchanan. Now it's 6.49, 0.5 seconds. And it instantly closes right here to about 0.3 seconds, just off the top of my head here, just estimating. And instantly, Mitchell Walker just pulls away like it hasn't even happened.
Well, that's something we've been able to see Mitch do all season on these road courses. It just seems like every time someone slightly catches up to him, he just pulls away from him. Next corner, no problem. He's probably the one of the most consistent drivers in the league, especially on the road courses. On the ovals, he himself has said he struggles a bit, but that's just how it is sometimes. The road course ringers aren't always the best oval drivers, but
yeah, that is the case sometimes. You're so used to going left and right road courses, knowing pretty much what the correct line is, and an oval with an IndyCar, well, you're kind of left on your own, essentially. Just left a mercy of the draft sometimes. Because I believe we saw it just a few weeks ago at Auto Club, I believe. I'm way incorrect on that one, actually.
It was Michigan.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Michigan, where we saw multiple drivers trading positions left and right at the front of the pack near contact at some point. And it was just absolutely pure insanity there, but it was exciting, though. And so there was that as well. Sometimes you have that chance of being up there battling, and, well, next thing you know, you're involved in possibly one of the worst places for wrecks at an oval. But other than that, we're going to go through your current field right now just to see how they are faring as we get to halfway. It's Mitchell Walker clearly still in first place, not letting anything get to him. Zachary Buchanan still in second, trying to get to Mitchell Walker. Byron Daly one position up from where he started, which is fourth place. So Byron Daly currently sits third, trying to chase down Zachary Buchanan. Danny Roberts swapped starting positions with Byron Daly. He sits fourth as of right now. Rounding out the top five is Colin Evans. Andrew Wood sixth, seventh place is Chad Frankenfield. Directly behind him is the 8th place positioning car of Matthew Warner. Behind him is Jack Andrick in the number 9 in position 9, appropriately enough. Kyton Barnesbach ran into a lot of bad luck, still on the lead lap after losing 4 positions, unfortunately, but he still sits in the top 10. As it's Will Roberts and James Pasquarella battling for position 11. It looks like it'll be Will Roberts in 11th, 12th is James Pasquarella. John Wilco, 13th, 1 lap down. 2 laps down is Michael Hurley. In 14th, 15th, 3 laps down is Jared Dixon. And then 4 drivers that are off the racetrack as of now are Chris Matthews, Don Runkle Jr., Evan Adams, and Brendan Minto. Currently 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th, respectively. So now we've run through your entire field. We have just a little bit of a ways to go here for the rest of this race. We're going to be going double wide so you don't miss a single thing here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. So, again, don't go anywhere as you won't miss a single thing. So we'll be going double wide.
the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
And we are back live here for the final 19 and a half laps, I should say, for once again, the Indianapolis Road Course race 12 of 15. It's been 50 laps, and most of which have been in control by Mitch Walker, aside from about 3 laps. And we've been riding on board Zachary Buchanan. We've seen him mess up just a little bit a ways into about turn 8 to turn 10. And unfortunately, that set him back very much, a lot more than he would have wanted to. Will Roberts, the next driver in line to get put a lap down, which would leave only 10 drivers on the lead lap. And well, it's better to be 10 drivers on the lead lap instead of 10 drivers on the lead lap from wrecks most of the time, as that's not going to work out. Miscommunication and car placement by both Roberts and Welker. That's really not going to help him out, as Buchanan just gets to the left-hand side of Mitchell Walker. Can he get that to stick on the top side of the exit? Goodness gracious.
He's got to be careful here. There's a cut track slowdown on the exit of that turn if you get it just wrong. But it looks like he'll come around and survive, and Zachary Buchanan to the lead into turn number 8.
Yeah, at the moment, Mitchell Walker has possibly, at the moment, a little bit of left front damage, and Zachary Buchanan actually waited for the right moment. That just did not work out whatsoever, and I think that's what Mitchell Walker had gotten damage from, the back bumper of Will Roberts.
Into the pit.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Walker is definitely heading to pit road. Yeah, there's the damage right there. Not sure if it was a miscommunication or not. We'll take one more look at this from a very high angle if possible. And this could be in slow motion. Mitch Walker, the second car. I think Will Roberts was slowing up to plan to go to the outside and not run himself off the road. And, well, unfortunately, Mitchell Walker was there in the racing line just directly behind him, just at the incredibly wrong moment. So, as Eric had mentioned, Mitchell Walker is once again in pit road for sure an unplanned stop, but he's making that as planned as possible, as he has fallen back to what is now 6th place, unfortunately. But on the bright side for him, his front wing is fixed, but at what cost? Aside from being 5 positions.
Well, now, to try and not sound cliche, should the race end now, Byron Daly would regain the points lead.
That's definitely going to be helping out right now. And of course, it does still factor into that. And for Byron Daly, he's been gone for about, again, 4 or 5 weeks for real-life racing stuff. And he's actually closing the gap between himself and Zachary Buchanan. And right as I say that, a little bit of cloud cover appears on the racetrack. So that's quite interesting timing for sure. About 3 seconds. It's hovering about 3 seconds between Buchanan and Daly. And at the moment, we'll take a look again on board Zachary Buchanan, who actually suggested this camera angle, so definitely decided to put this on at the last second for all the vehicles. It actually works out pretty well as compared to the roll bar camera. Again, still solid 3 seconds as I head back down to turn 8 in the second half. It's interesting just listening to the engine there. There goes Buchanan to pit road. Can he slow down in time? He does. So that gives the lead back to Byron Daly. As well, that's only going to be Zachary Buchanan's 2 laps led. He's been running up in second for so long, but now Byron Daly has more laps led than Buchanan. It's quite an interesting statistic there, as we'll see where Buchanan falls here on the exit of his pit stop. So there is another driver leaving pit road just behind him, and that is the 64 of Matthew Warner. As Buchanan gets tired, he's down and away. Mitchell Walker is going to be just getting up onto the back bumper as they head back down to turn number 1. So now it's Project 2 that are positions 5 and 6 for the time being. These two very well-known teammates, but at the moment, again, what cost was it for? And can both of these drivers rebound from that little bit of an unplanned incident? It is under 18 laps as well. So, again, about an 18-lap pit stop. It's about lap 35 that I predicted. Predicted lap 36 that Buchanan was going to come into pit road. We'll see what the speed is for Daly. Just enough and nearly gets the outside wall there, entering pit road. So 13 laps for Byron Daly here. Will he be running short, or is he pitting early on just to save himself a little bit of trouble? That is also Will Roberts in pit road just directly behind him. So it will be...
Now,
go ahead.
Zachary Buchanan coming out of the last turn. We're going to see where Byron Daly can file out here.
Well, Daly's just now leaving pit road, and there is Buchanan just getting by Byron Daly, possibly on the entry to the corner. Yep, gets very well by. That's going to, again, put Byron Daly back behind Zachary Buchanan, but the thing is, even though it's only 1 lap, it still is fresher tires, and this permanent cloud cover that we have for the time being, that could change and cool down the racetrack just ever so slightly. That could go into Daly's favor because he was starting to gain just a little bit on Buchanan before pit road happened. Before pit stops happened, before Zachary Buchanan had decided to go to pit road. I'll see if Danny Roberts and Cohen Evans decide to go into pit road this time around.
Now, here's an interesting question that will be asked. If Byron Daly gets around Zach Buchanan, do you think that we'll see team orders for Zach to let Mitch by to try and keep that point?
I'm not sure. I mean, Zachary Buchanan earlier on in the race was making a challenge for the lead. He had it for about 2 laps, quite literally. But, I don't know. Buchanan was making a little bit of moves early on. I'm pretty sure the only team orders are, you know what, just race how you normally race, but don't make any massive contact or any ridiculous moves, and everything should be fine. The thing is, that's even if Mitchell Walker can catch up to Byron Daly. And the thing is, Byron Daly is surrounded by Buchanan and Walker. And at the moment, looking at the difference between the two, it's about a solid 2.3 seconds between Buchanan and Daly on the exit of this corner here. It's a solid 1.8 seconds for the time being. 1.86 to be more specific. And 1.81. So Zachary Buchanan may be trying to play defense and help out Mitchell Walker, just trying to defend the position of 3rd place against Byron Daly. Danny Roberts opts to stay out of pit road once again. Does Cohen Evans do the same? Chooses yes to stay out of pit road, trying to make that car last as long as possible. So it looks like it's going to be Kyten Bommersbach nearly off the racetrack once again. He will get lapped by he will get lapped by Danny Roberts. That's going to leave 8 drivers now on the lead lap, and it may leave 7 if Chad Frankenfield gets lapped in these next few laps here. At the moment, Buchanan and Daly, looks like the gap is closing just a little bit. Jack Anderick has opted to go into pit road. Any calls for Roberts or Evans, or Danny Roberts, I should say, or Cohen Evans to go to pit road this time by? We'll find out, but it's a little bit crazy there for Danny Roberts. Makes it through.
Zach Buchanan running into some
Cohen
lap
Evans.
traffic.
No, wait, no, sorry, go ahead.
This is going to be playing into Byron Daly's hand.
And coming into pit road is Cohen Evans. Again, pit speed 55. Slows down just enough. So Byron Daly has now got the slipstream of Zachary Buchanan. But where does Daly go? Right down to the inside. Buchanan decides to not defend and say, well, you know what? You caught me and get to pass me. But the thing is, now that means Byron Daly will have to deal with the lap traffic beforehand. And that could clear the way for Buchanan. This is for second place. Again, Cohen Evans has gone to pit road. So this is now a battle for second place. But right on the back bumper there for a few moments was Buchanan. And still, just again, he's got to go a little bit wide and brake a little bit harder just to avoid running into the back bumper of the 06. Mitchell Welker not too far behind, but about 3 seconds is far enough for the 06 of Daly. Meanwhile, Danny Roberts still has yet to go to pit road. I believe, though, that could be this time around. No, he still opts to stay out. I think he's trying to stretch this as long as possible. Maybe hoping for a full course yellow, but we haven't seen that at all this race. We've only seen single car incidents, and if there were other incidents, and they haven't really brought out the caution. The only car-to-car contact that we saw was on the first opening laps. That didn't really warrant enough of a caution for the full course. And Buchanan may have his left front wing missing, as I believe he caught the wall off turn number 4. Turn number 13, which is technically off of the oval turn 1, but then it just gets absolutely confusing after that, since we're referring to the track in a reverse order. But riding on board this replay, he definitely tagged that. Buchanan definitely tagged the wall, and that's hurting his momentum. So I think Welker, who's nearly directly behind, he's actually got the 64 Matthew Warner in front of him, but Zachary Buchanan may actually have to let Mitchell Welker by as we're coming to 10 laps to go. Does Danny Roberts pit? No, he does not. I think Danny Roberts is actually trying to stretch this out. I don't know if he thinks he's actually fueled to get to the end of the race, but he's trying to stretch it out for sure. As Buchanan has the draft of Byron Daly. Daly defends just like the first opening laps between himself and Welker. Oh, man. All right, so it looks like the collision detection, or prediction code, I should say, for iRacing decided that Buchanan did not hit the wall hard enough to warrant a loss of a left front wing. So that is back. So it's 10 laps to go for Danny Roberts, and a little bit of a battle as we watch between Byron Daly and Zachary Buchanan. Mitchell Welker trying to close the gap ever so slightly, more and more by lap.
Michael Hurley is going to make it very tough. No, he's not. He's going to let them all by, and a little bit on the grass for Byron. We'll see if that upsets him going through this complex, but it doesn't look like it will. Byron Daly will keep the lead as they head down towards turn.
And still staying out of the pit road is the 41 of Danny Roberts. It looks like Buchanan may have gotten the worst of that. A little bit of exchange between all lap cars and that complete craziness, but Buchanan again has the draft. Not 7th gear, but he does have the draft for sure as they head down to turn 1, but it will not be in time. Although it does bring Buchanan straight to the back bumper of Byron Daly. 8.5 laps to go for Danny Roberts as he comes onto the back straightaway, and just a little bit locking up the wheels is Buchanan to make their way through these first few corners once again.
I'll tell you what, Danny Roberts' lap times definitely don't look like he's saving fuel, and if he manages to make this work out, I think that'll be one heck of a...
That'd be one heck of an... Yeah, that would be for sure an upset by Danny Roberts. Because I don't believe we've seen him a lot. We haven't seen him prominently in the front pack for a few times as we continue to watch with Daly and Buchanan sort of battle it out for second place as Daly gets the better exchange. But we haven't really seen Danny Roberts prominently as much until a few weeks ago. More recently, Long Beach, actually, where in the second twin race, it was Roberts that had gotten the momentum.
Move by Zach Buchanan.
Yeah, for sure, as we were riding on board that entire time. Just about to get to that, and it looks like Daly, does he have the nose? He does have the nose just under Buchanan. So it's actually, no, Danny Roberts went to pit road. He had finally decided to go pit road after about 20 laps. Relinquishes the lead, so now it is a battle for first place. It is back to the first, second, and third place. The only difference is Mitchell Walker and Byron Daly have completely swapped positions from earlier on. Mitchell Walker was in first, while now it's Byron Daly in first. And Mitchell Walker in third. Zachary Buchanan still stuck in the middle. And looking at the previous lap times between Daly and Buchanan, Daly and Welker, in fact, we'll go through the entire top three. It was Byron Daly with a 1 minute 12.940. Zachary Buchanan with a 1 minute 12.623. Welker with a 1 minute 12.821 or 801. So it is Zachary Buchanan 3 tenths faster than Byron Daly, 2 tenths faster than Mitchell Welker. That was only because of the draft the last time by the start-finish line. A little bit of an advantage. This time by, it is Mitchell Welker slow by about 4 tenths of a second. Or sorry, Zachary Buchanan slower by about 4 tenths of a second. Let's head back down to turn 1. Mitchell Welker was shown faster the last time by. Still sticking to the back bumper, Byron Daly is Buchanan. Nearing 6 laps to go. And it is Byron Daly just pulling away ever so slightly lap by lap. 0.5 seconds separates Byron Daly from Zachary Buchanan, and a full second separates Zachary Buchanan from Mitchell Welker, and a little bit of an overshot. We heard the tires there. It scraped just a little bit.
And going back to that common theme throughout this race, that you can get close, but you just can't make the moves stick unless you have a big run.
And that big run, unfortunately, will not be the case for Zachary Buchanan. However, it will be a battle between, maybe a battle between Mitchell Walker and Zachary Buchanan. The question is, will Buchanan either let him by, like you brought up earlier, Eric, or does Zachary Buchanan race Mitchell Walker like it's actually, like it's pretty much worth like any other race, like Mitchell Walker isn't even a teammate. We're nearing 5 to go.
Well, at this point, no matter where Mitch finishes, if Byron Daly wins this race, he will regain the points lead. So I don't know if those team orders would mean too much at this stage.
We'll see if it does do anything at all. But Mitchell Walker has the slipstream to Zachary Buchanan. He gets a little bit of the grass there twice, actually. It should be that no one is really safe from that, not exactly a chicane, if you will, but more just sharp left and right-hand turns. Making about turn 8 to turn 10. Byron Daly still first, still second is Buchanan, still third is Mitchell Walker. And for sure, Mitchell Walker's, I believe they are bonus points for leading the most laps, so Walker for sure gets that. But the thing is, Buchanan is the closest one to Byron Daly as they head back down into turns 1 and 2 into turn 3 in this right-hander. And just ever so slightly closes the gap was Zachary Buchanan when he was about 0.8 seconds in those first few corners, but now he's dropped back about 4 tenths. You can see the lap times. It was 2 tenths faster, actually, for Zachary Buchanan.
Zach a little wide.
Yeah, and he's going to get passed by Mitchell Welker, so that means it could be Welker versus Daly. Unless Zachary Buchanan will be tagging along the back bumper of Welker, trying to catch up to Byron Daly. everyone is pretty much having their tires all over the grass in that portion of the field, as there is a driver off the racetrack on the actual far end of the course. That is, John Wilco. Yeah, taking a cone with him.
Well, last time we saw a battle between Mitch Welker and Byron Daly on a road course was, I believe, this is probably wrong, but it was Barber Motorsports Park last season. It was Byron Daly who came out on top of that. I don't remember if we've seen it this season, but the last time that Byron... I'm thinking of words very well. But yeah, last time on a road course, Byron was able to beat him. Not the last time, but...
Last time they met, yeah.
Yeah.
For the time being, though, it was John Wilco that was outside of the racing course, and of course, that it does make sense because Wilco was trying to get out of the way of your entire top three as we're watching the front bumper of Zachary Buchanan, and it's still going to be Byron Daly in first place by about 2 seconds ahead, so we could be seeing ourselves a little bit of a battle for P2 if that is the case. And thanks to Matt Hollabaugh, who, while on air quote vacation, I use that very loosely, Matt Hollabaugh's thankfully done some rough math for us, and it says that it will be Daly and Welker tied for points at this time. And especially both having 190 points if they've... apologies for that. If Mitchell Walker can retain the most laps led. And I believe that is the case. He's about 30 laps led for Mitchell Walker. Just rounded up at the very least. But right now, Walker may be closing in on the lead. He's about 0.4 seconds closer, 0.3 seconds now. As it is still Byron Daly running victorious for the time being. And it's going to be an interesting final 2 laps to see if anything does happen. Oh, definitely, though, that could be a cut course for Zachary Buchanan. Yeah, it wasn't, but Buchanan, unfortunately, I know that pressure all too well, but that's the thing is, on these final few laps, the more the laps wind down, the more adrenaline you get, and the more mistakes you start to make. Next thing you know, you're farther behind than you really want to, and your laps just end up getting sloppier and sloppier. Not saying that Zachary Buchanan is really a terrible driver. Oh man, but he is pushing that thing like it's the last lap, and I do not blame him whatsoever. So that's very understandable the way Zachary Buchanan is driving right now, trying to push for whatever he can get right now. He is in first place about twice actually in this in the point of this race. At the start-finish line for sure. He's trying to push really hard as well, trying to get back up, trying to find whatever he can. But at this point, he'd rather just run normally.
And Byron Daly looked a little wide on the exit of turn number 8, but we'll keep it together.
Yeah, even though Byron Daly's run wide a few times, it's going to be quite interesting, and yeah, we'll see what the points do end up being. Thanks to, again, Matt Hollabaugh doing the rough math for us. It's clearly unofficial, but it's rough, so it's close enough what we can get. As we have the final lap this time by for Byron Daly. I don't believe we'll have any battles for second or third, but it's Mitch Walker second, third place Zachary Buchanan. At the moment, it is Byron Daly who is just slowly scooting away with the wind, driving more and more away. We could be seeing ourselves as battle for second, but I'm not too sure 100% about that. But Byron Daly, think about this. He's been gone for about 3 to 4 weeks, 3 or 4 races actually. And if he comes back to win this, that's going to be quite interesting to see. It's going to be a little bit of an upset as well, especially for Mitchell Welker after winning last week at Road America.
And Mitch Welker Zach Buchanan gets around Mitch Welker.
That could definitely put the points in favor of Byron Daly for sure. We'll get a replay of that pass as they headed down into turn number 8. But right now it's Byron Daly coming off of turn number 12. I almost said turn number 4 by habit. Turn number 13 this time by for Byron Daly. And at the start-finish line, it will be Byron Daly coming back to win once again at the Indianapolis Grand Prix road course here. Second place is Zachary Buchanan. Third place, Mitchell Walker. And get a replay of that pass from the on-board of Zachary Buchanan. So it could be possibly Byron Daly. Yeah, it was Mitchell Walker. Mitchell Walker decided to let Zachary Buchanan by. But the thing is, Mitchell Walker just completely screwed himself out of a tie for the points lead.
And thanks to Matt Hollabaugh, he puts Byron Daly 2 points ahead in the championship.
Yeah, that's not really going to help him out later on. So not exactly the best move. Welker should have, even though he is teammates with Zachary Buchanan, still should have let that happen in front. Still should have just went with the position, but we'll ride on board either way. I can hear the purposefully low RPM that Mitchell Walker's running. He's off the throttle here. And now he's back into the throttle. Yeah, that's not the best move for the championship, unfortunately, for Mitchell Walker. If only he knew. Walker did lead the most laps, however, so it could be a 1-point difference. But we'll see if we can by the end of the night. But other than that, for now, it is Byron Daly going to burn it down at the Brickyard at the road course. I thought I was going to hit the wall there for a second. Byron Daly burns it down again at the start-finish line. Last time, I believe, since New Hampshire.
Somebody get David Land on the phone. That's burnouts on the bricks.
So as Byron Daly finishes up his burnouts, we will go over your finishing order here for tonight. Well, for tonight, and then we'll go over your race interviews as well here in just a few moments' time. But it is still first place. We're going to double check to make sure that everything is correct, and it is. So it's first place going to Byron Daly, Zachary Buchanan second, third place Mitchell Walker, and that position 2 and 3 swap may have ruined the championship hopes at the moment, at least for Mitchell Walker going into the Indianapolis 250, second annual, by the way. So we'll see how that plays out, but Dane Roberts finishes fourth either way. Fifth place, Andrew Wood. Cohen Evans finishes sixth. Chad Frankenfield, seventh. Kyton Bommersbach in eighth. Ninth place, Jack Endrick. 10th is Matthew Warner. Next is going to be in 11th, Will Roberts. Michael Hurley finishes 12th. 13th, John Wilco. 14th, Jared Dixon. 15th, James Pascarella. 16th is Chris Matthews, Don Uncle Jr., Evan Adams, and Brendan Minto round up 17th, 18th, and 19th. Respectively. So we'll go over your top 3 interviews here in just a few moments' time. And as per usual, this is the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with your top 3.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
And we are back live here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network with your first place finisher, Byron Daly, after coming back off of a bit of a break in actual real world stuff, as we got confirmed by him. So congratulations to you, Byron Daly, once again for getting another win under your belt. I believe it's your 6th win of the season. So it's pretty great to see that coming into the Grand Prix road course here. Although I shouldn't be asking the questions. Sorry for cutting you off there, but I shouldn't be asking the questions. It should be Eric, actually. So go ahead, Eric.
Oh, no, it's fun. Byron, really good job. You get the points lead back. You win your first race back. What are the emotions that you're feeling at the moment?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. I wasn't, up to pace there the first run. I got a little damage from the issue I had in turn one, and I don't know if that affected me or just kind of learned the track more as the race went on, kind of helped me more than anything. I love road racing, but like the tracks that I don't run all the time, it just takes me a while to get up to speed. So I'm pretty happy with this result. It's I feel like I got pretty lucky there, so I'll take it.
Well, it definitely seemed like you were running consistently, and you had that race maybe not under control at all times, but when it definitely counted. Gary, if you've got anything to follow up.
Yeah, the only thing that I actually have to say, if you don't have anything, is, well, who would you like to give a shout out to for your race win back?
Just again, you guys for broadcasting this, Fuel Racing League for putting on, a prime time IndyCar league. It's fun to do. Zach for having an awesome race there for the lead for a while. That was a lot of fun. A lot of defending, but I think we raced each other pretty fair. So I hope it was fun for everybody to watch. Take this one and hopefully see if we can hang on to the championship lead a little longer.
Let's definitely go. Congratulations again on your race win back here tonight.
Thank you, guys.
So that is Byron Daly finishing first place. Not the first time he's been in first place as well. So we will also head over to second place, that being the 41 of Zach Buchanan. Once we get his car back up onto the racetrack so we can get or the 40 of Zach Buchanan. I do not know car numbers anymore, unfortunately. But it was between Zach Buchanan and Byron Daly at times. It was between Buchanan and Welker at times as well. So a very solid top 3 race for you tonight, Zach.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I kind of started slowing down towards the end because of tires, but overall I'm pretty happy with how my race went.
And tires for sure didn't really seem to affect you much throughout this race, at least from what I could tell. At least but I did notice though that you were definitely driving the heck out of that IndyCar in those final few laps. So for sure, putting a little bit more wear, but also trying to possibly catch up to Mitchell Walker. So what are your thoughts heading into the, not next week, but 2 weeks from now, actually, the second annual Fuel 250?
Well, after a couple weeks of poor results in pretty much everything I've run, this was a good pick-me-up tonight. I really appreciate Mitch letting me by in the last couple laps because he asked me to let him by so he could try to catch Byron and give me a tow, but since that didn't work out, he let me back by. And I think that's the kind of push I need going into Indy, since I'll be trying to defend my win there.
Yeah, it's definitely a great pick-me-up, as you had mentioned as well, especially after what you've gone through the past, multiple weeks. Long Beach, I believe Coda at one point as well, so it's definitely a great, goodness gracious, if I could remember how to English properly here. It's definitely a great pick-me-up, like you had mentioned. So before we go ahead and let you go, and before I mess up any words again, anyone that you'd like to give a shout-out to for your second-place finish?
I'd just like to give a shout-out to Daniel for watching my races along with me.
Well, we're going to go ahead and let you go, so congratulations again on your second-place finish.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was the number 40 second-place finisher of Zachary Buchanan, finishing, of course, again in second place. And finally, we go to the one and the only, quite literally the number one, and, well, quite literally the only number one here Mitchell Walker finishing third place. And while Mitch, I believe as you were told, that you got mentioned to you that you were tied for the points lead going in. Well, not exactly going in, but you're tied for the points lead for a few moments going to the final laps while you were still in second place. And unfortunately, you had given that to Zachary Buchanan.
A bit of team orders there. He had let me by to have a go at Byron. It didn't work, so I gave it back to him. That's the story.
That definitely does make sense. Short and right to the point as well. So heading into the Indianapolis 250 for 2 weeks from now, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are beating Byron, because that's literally the only goal I have going into these now, because I don't have a cushion. I have not the one that I had last year, certainly. It's obviously lost the points lead again tonight, which is ultra frustrating. So yeah, that's my target, just beat Byron.
I definitely hope that is the case. So before we go ahead and let you go, is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your third place finish?
Honestly, not really.
That's quite understandable. So we're going to go ahead and let you go. Congratulations on your third place.
Thanks.
So understandably upset, and I can definitely understand why. He almost had it, and he unfortunately had the team orders, as he had mentioned, to just give the second place position back. So any final thoughts, Eric?
Well, the results are in, and the official points lead that Byron Daly has over Mitch is 1 point going into the Indy 250. So not 2 that we thought. But that is still not what Mitch wants, especially coming out of that race, getting caught up with Will. Just some miscommunication that went on there. Mitch couldn't see his brake marker, and so he accidentally went into the back of Mitch. Or sorry, not Mitch, Will. But you know, that's it's like that sometimes, and you know, that's racing.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case, and it for sure is racing. So before we go ahead and sign off for the night, as usual, your upcoming races here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network are starting with this Sunday, the Flat Out Racing League with the Cage Cup Series. They are back for 200 laps at Richmond this Sunday at about 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time is when that race goes live. And then 2 weeks from now, as next week is the qualifying runs, but 2 weeks from now on May 16th is the second annual, as the microphone accidentally cut out there, but is the second annual Fuel Indianapolis 250. So we'll stay at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for about 3 weeks, and then take a little bit of a break, and then plow right into the final few weeks of this season. So as we sign off from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for Eric Gonzalez, I have been Gary Weaver, and we thank you all for watching. We hope to see you next time. Good night from Indianapolis.